Japanese businessmen are buying panties out of vending machines.
Right. I told you, feet pics. I will send you photos of my feet if you pay me.
Oh,
100%.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. We're just trying to offer.
Yeah.
I will do so much more. Welcome back to Show Me Yours with Jackie and Jonny, everybody.
I'm Jackie Agnew.
And I'm Jonny DeVito. This week we have a very good one. Right off the top, I think it's important that we get the business out of the way.
Yes.
Thank you very much to everybody that's watching. Thank you to everybody that's listening. If you haven't already, like and subscribe.
Yeah. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel. Throw us a like. Drop a comment. Follow us on Instagram, Show Me Yours Podcast.
Yes, ma'am.
If you're watching on Apple Podcasts, give us 5 stars.
Sure.
And leave a little review. It helps.
It really does.
Yeah.
Well, now that shit's out of the way, Jackie.
Yeah.
We have a very good one today, but I think you have something off the top that you want to discuss?
Yeah, so I've recently found this story. I don't think it's super recent, but I stumbled upon it and I knew we had to discuss it.
Yeah, I kind of saw the headline and I'm not into it, but let's talk about it.
So an elderly couple was held hostage in their home for 6 days by seagulls that were nesting sort of not in their roof, but sort of like in the canopy under the roof. And so basically, whenever they tried to leave the house, they were viciously attacked by these seagulls. And to the point, so during one time, the elderly man, I believe he was 77, he tried to leave the house one time. And one of the seagulls attacked the back of his head so hard that he had to go to the hospital to get the wound treated.
Sons of bitches.
And I have some fun quotes.
Well, no, Jackie, before we get into the quotes, for too long now,
Yeah.
birds have been attacking human beings. I think
true.
Of just kind of leaving us in a general sense of fear. Like this impending doom, right? They're the terrorists of the sky. Aerial terrorists. I've been calling them for like 13 seconds now. And I'm not fucking into it. Okay.
Aerialists.
I said it. Aerial. No. Aerial terrorists, Jackie. Give them the name that they deserve.
Okay.
Because,
Terrialists.
fuck's sakes. I'm not going to get into the minutia here, Jackie. Right now, we're clearly just discussing semantics.
Yeah. Sorry, go on.
But I have long been a champion of maybe eradicating all birds out of the sky.
Okay.
I like a pterodactyl.
Oh, yeah.
I love a pterodactyl. Mostly
I like birds of prey.
Birds of prey, like in the idea, but every bird, like I'm prey to every bird.
That's true.
Do you know what I mean, right? I'm terrified of them. They circle the skies, right?
do.
Like fucking vultures, right? Just waiting for a slip up. One time I'm walking to work and a crow feather, or I guess an entire wing, just like side swipes me on the face.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, and it fucked my whole day up. I didn't go to work. I had to go back home and shower because like now I just like, and I still feel dirty about it. But not only that, a friend of mine, I walked into a friend of mine's house, showed it to Chris Roussel. I love that man. He had a budgie.
Okay.
I think.
Yep.
Not a very intimidating sounding bird.
It's one of the least intimidating sounding birds.
Well, Jackie, what happened was like I went into his home and he had this bird resting on his shoulder. It's his companion, it's his partner, it's his pet.
Yeah.
Right? So I walk into the domicile and he goes, "Hey man, you cool with birds?" And I'm like, "Sure." Because I don't know, I've never been around a bird.
To that point,
because I'm not from a fucking zoo. And I don't really associate with terrorists like that, right?
Sure.
That's not how I get down.
Yeah.
So I'm in his living room and this little bird takes off from his shoulder and just turns in from like a little 2-inch little bird.
Yeah.
All of a sudden it's like 4 feet across and it's like, it's flying at me. So I did what any tough guy would do and I hit the deck and I started screaming for my mother. And my friend just looked down at me and it's like, and he said, that's how you're handling that.
Yeah. I have.
That's how I handled it. So like, I'm like forever fuck birds.
Okay.
So like, and this is an elderly couple
experience,
too. Like if anything, like if I was going to be a superhero, that's all I would do is spend my time fighting birds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you know how like you see in the, I don't know if it's like in Paris or something, but like all these birds just kind of like flock together and stuff like that. And nobody really understands how or why they dance. That's like probably a seance to me. Sure. And I'm going to be flying around the middle of that fucking everything up.
Yeah, anti-Birdman.
Yes.
I have been dive bombed by a crow twice within like 20 minutes.
Do you see what I'm saying?
I was walking.
That's fucking terrifying.
It was the first year I was in. When we were at VFS. I was walking to get groceries and I cut down an alley, and when I went down when I turned down on this corner, this crow just fucking flies straight into my head, and I was like, holy fuck. And I think it's because I had a ponytail, and it went like straight for the ponytail, and I was like, oh my god, that was a lot. And so then I kept walking, sort of shook it off, did my groceries, came back, happened again in the same spot.
No,
I don't know. I didn't even think to go a different route because I didn't think. I just, I didn't think it would. I thought it was like lightning.
Well, Jackie, that's a bad neighborhood, and you were probably wearing the wrong colors at the wrong time. That sounds like some gang shit to me, right? Like they were gonna punk you every time you walk past that corner.
Yeah.
Did you change your route?
I did after that. I didn't cut
Smart
down
girl.
that alley anymore.
Smart girl. I'm so like this bums me out.
Yeah.
Like that terrifies the shit out of me, and I don't want anything to do with any bird or any bird lover, anything like that. So I'm running from the police one time, and I'm not going to get into the specifics of the story, but there was a time in my youth where I had to run away from police in hot pursuit, right? So they're chasing me through the bushes, maybe like 14 or 15 or something like that, and the idea of me getting caught is not going to happen.
Right,
when you have like grown men with guns behind you telling you that they're going to kick the shit out of you for having them chase me through a swamp, basically.
Yeah.
So they're not going to be happy when they catch me, right?
Of course.
So they're not going to catch me. And I find a little sanctuary in somebody's backyard. It looks to be a garage or something. And I get into that garage and I put a garbage can like over top of me. And I had like maybe 4 or 5 beers, and I figure like, well, if I'm going to jail, I'm going to shotgun these beers, right? This normal shit that a 14-year-old does, right? This is just regular kid stuff.
Yeah.
So I get a little bit of that courage in me, and then I think like, okay, these police have to be far enough away from me now that I can at least like peek my head out from under this garbage can and look around. And no word of a lie, I take this garbage can off and I realize that I'm in a room filled with birds, no cages. Like this guy just has a fucking bird collection of all these different species that are just in this decent sized like garage.
Oh my God.
So now I have a choice of like, do I stay in a room with my biggest fear or go and take a chance against my second biggest fear, apparently, which is like the police. So I chose like, fuck it, I'm gonna let's do another 100-meter dash. I ran from Fruitvale to Trail and didn't get caught, which is pretty awesome. They knew who I was the whole time. I ended up giving, I'm not a mastermind here, but I didn't get my ass kicked by the police that day, right? Which is fantastic. And I also didn't get eaten by a bird, that just is like kind of showcases like the human spirit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The will to survive.
Yeah.
Right. That's something that I've embodied for a long time now.
Yeah. Yeah. Birds are definitely, I mean, like I am an animal lover, but birds are the one I do get a little bit skittish around, just because not all birds, mostly like crows for sure.
Yeah, they're too smart.
Seagulls, because I'm like, they always steal like your food. They're a bit too bold, seagulls.
Mm-hmm.
And then Canadian geese. Because they're fucking terrifying.
Really?
They will fuck you up. Are you kidding me?
I don't fuck around with any birds. Like, so I wouldn't know that like one would be more aggressive than the other.
Oh my God.
I'm like, any bird coming near me is getting fucked up.
They're mislabeled. They should be called like Brooklyn geese or something.
Oh, is that right? They're aggressive. Is that an aggressive neighborhood? They're gentrifying a historically black neighborhood right now. Having like aioli. Aioli. They're selling artisanal mayonnaises.
Yeah.
In what used to be rundown buildings. No, I can see that. I can see that.
Brooklyn geese out here.
She had to do the accent, right on. That's cool. Hey, we're the Brooklyn geese.
So back to this story. So I love this. They kept referring to this whole event as the 6-day siege, like it was a like a battle in war. I
would have that doesn't even sound that doesn't even give it like the level of intensity that I would feel in that. Like I would have probably named it something well, not off the top of my head, but it would have been more of an epic battle, right? Probably.
Yeah.
It would have been a standoff, maybe like the 100 Years War.
100 Years War. Yeah.
I think so.
So
far spanning, like far outreaching my lifespan.
Yeah. So describing the 6-day siege, Roy. So I think this is the older gentleman's name. Said the whole thing has been he's British. The whole the whole thing has been terrible. I've not been able to
do your regular voice.
My accents aren't the point of this story.
There's something.
I've not been able to go out the front door. If I try to get out of the door, the two adult birds are right there, and I've got no chance. It's genuinely frightening. He added, my wife isn't well or very mobile at the moment, so we're relying on me to get out. Frustratingly for Roy, his hands were tied after the city council confirmed the birds were herring gulls, which are protected when they're nesting.
Oh, fuck that shit.
Yeah. And so he criticized the council for offering an umbrella to shield the couple without doing anything about the birds.
I like how the city council just showed up at the property line and fucking threw an umbrella at him. Like, figure it out, man.
He goes, why are seagulls protected? They are not an endangered species. They're a flaming nuisance.
I like that after a 6-day siege locked in his house, he still has the wherewithal to call them like a flaming nuisance. I would be losing my goddamn mind.
And so eventually the BBC, so not even the city council, just like the media, they came out to the couple's home and arranged for like a tent, basically canopy, to be set up outside the home to provide some temporary relief until the birds finished nesting. And the final thing is that a city council spokesman told this news source that they assessed the situation and gave the couple advice on dealing with the seagulls. That advice was, we advise residents who have a problem with seagulls to bird-proof their properties prior to the breeding season.
Man, if the last year has taught us anything,
he's bleeding out the back of his head.
It just goes to show that fuck your government. They don't care about you.
Oh my God, his poor wife. And so the elderly man here is the hero of the story. Because his wife couldn't leave the house, and so he had to brave these seagulls on his own.
Do you think she did it specify like the injury or why she couldn't leave the house?
No.
Because it sounds to me like if I'm noticing seagulls are outside, right, and it's the two of us, I might just like stomp on my foot to break it so that I don't have to go anywhere, and you might have to run the errands.
It's so weird. I'm just not mobile right now. I'm so sorry, but you're gonna have to
go out there
for the team.
Why do you have to leave the house so many times? Like, was he like going to play
just
lottery
to,
or something, scratching wings
and
run
errands
shit?
And stuff?
Wow.
And like to get her medications and stuff. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it cements like a belief that I've had for my entire life, right? And now that they're rising up and starting to attack people, the fact that any bird could be considered protected when
seagulls, especially,
get the fuck out of here, right? When our protection or our personal safety is not on the mind of any gull, any bird, any fowl for that matter, you know. And I think that, the more that we let them get away with these kind of atrocities, and the more that they're just going to run all over us, right? So it's time to stand up. It's time to take down any and every two-legged winged creature, except a pterodactyl, obviously,
of course,
right? The noble
pterodactyl
pterodactyl should be
exception,
just a lot harder to find. I like a dragon too. You know what I mean, right? Like if it could fly.
Get on board. You
know, right? But other than that,
flying dragon.
Anything mythical or prehistoric. Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Aren't like birds kind of prehistoric though?
Actually, they say there's like a raptor like evolved into like a chicken, or like a velociraptor evolved into like a chicken or something, which is crazy to me. I don't understand that, but. That's the biggest fuck you for like the animal kingdom, probably, right? Over millions of years, if you're like the most badass, fierce predator pack hunters, like hyenas and shit like that, like the velociraptor, I don't know. I'm just basing all of this off of Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
And of my knowledge of dinosaurs.
Yeah, of course.
But if you go through hundreds of millions of years and starting at the, like the wildest predator in the land, and now you are like a chicken that the colonel from Kentucky Fried pumps you full of like all kinds of hormones and stuff, and now your boobies are too big to walk. Like they have a terrible fate now, actually, right?
Yeah, I used to be scared of chickens when I was a kid because my aunt and uncle lived on a farm and they had chickens, and they seemed to me like a threat because they would like chase me around and stuff, and like the rooster was just like out there like
cock of the walk,
fuck you up if I wanted to.
I think, well, that's a problem because like that becomes a pack, right? And I mean, velociraptors too, according to Jurassic Park, were also pack hunters.
Right.
So I mean, you get a chicken around a bunch of other chickens, right? They're not playing by the rules.
Yeah, absolutely
not one chicken I've ever met has played by the rules.
No,
right?
God,
that's why I batter and fry them shits.
Well, I don't know. I don't support that.
Well, I mean, I'm not. I don't care, Jackie. I'm out here standing up for the regular people.
Yeah.
You do what you want dietarily, but like next time the chickens come after you, right? You're gonna wish I was there with a fucking hot pot of oil. That's all I'm saying.
That's true.
With herbs and spices, bitch.
Yeah.
Ugh. Fuck, I hate birds. Like that really fucked me up. That really creeped me out. Well, hey, moving on.
Yeah.
Jackie, today, now that my mind is rattled and I'm thinking about the Predators of the Sky, I want to direct your attention to one of the greatest hip-hop albums of all time, Deltron 3030.
Yeah.
You see, Jackie, in the post-apocalyptic future of 3030, right, we have Deltron Zero and Dan the Automator, right, which you're going to have to, travel through space and time,
right,
basically to take back what is theirs, right? To take back what's everybody's, you know what I mean? From the global confederation, you know what I mean? That's just kind of suppressing human life and hip hop, right? It's up to Del, to battle intergalactically, right? You know what I mean? To save the world.
Of course.
Very simple concept album to follow.
This all makes perfect sense.
I've been listening to this album for a long time. A lesson to anybody listening to this is your friends don't know anything, and don't listen to anybody's opinion about music, because I was about like 12 or 13 years old. I was hanging out at a friend's house. Kelly Farewell, I'm looking at you. This isn't your fault. I'm not saying that I hate you. I actually love this man very much. Okay. Right? But when we were kids, I had like a huge CD collection, and I'm like, building and just like always looking for new music. And he had a copy of Deltron 3030 that was given to him by like his older sister or something like that. And he handed it to me and said, "You can have this because it's a piece of shit and I hate it."
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What?
And I was like 13 years old, and I looked at it and I was like, well, no, like we're friends, so if you don't like it, then I probably won't like it.
Yeah.
And I always remember like the Deltron 3030. I'm like, that's interesting. So the name stuck with me, the album art stuck with me, and I was like, this looks like something like futuristic, and I'm not into like sci-fi or anything like that at the time.
Of course, yeah.
Especially with hip hop, I like stuff like a little more grounded.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I said, no, I don't need it. And then years later, it smacks me in the face.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it's something that I think about a lot. Right?
How did you come across it again?
I came across it again just being a hip hop fan, and all of my friends, everybody's talking about classic albums, music that we love, and he's one of my friends brought up Deltron, and I almost gave it the assessment that my friend had given me.
Yeah.
Right? I'm like, well, when I was 13, my friend said it sucked.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? I should be smacked across the face for that.
Yeah.
Right? Like if that's what you're basing, your taste or like.
But like as a kid, that's.
Oh, for sure.
It
was huge, right? So, I listened to it again, and it was like immediately. I don't know how I wouldn't have enjoyed it. When I was a kid, right? It takes you somewhere to, like a completely different, you know what I mean? Kind of like way of thinking, especially in like the realm of hip hop. Disclaimer off the top of this, we're gonna go like deep into Deltron as we go into any record, I guess. I don't know, we're gonna see where it goes, but the thing about this record and kind of diving back into it now, the funnest part about this has just been like going back and just listening to Del. So Del, the Funky Homo Sapien, Dan the Automator, and Kid Koala are the three-piece that make up Deltron 3030.
Right.
Del the Funky Homo Sapien is an Oakland-based rapper, also Ice Cube's cousin, which is very interesting. If you listen to Del's first album, I Wish My Brother George Was Here, you'll hear Ice Cube all over it interludes and stuff like that. It's just kind of interesting. So there's like some backstory there, but they didn't make a lot of music together. But Del is the funkiest motherfucker alive, the coolest, and well, you can just tell like his vocal delivery. Like, I mean, just the inflection in this man's voice is just very cool, and he can take a really like, intricate rhyme structure and kind of fuse it and attach it to something so wildly different and like a very strict concept album, right. So like a lot of basically every verse in this like fits very tightly into the concept and structure of this album.
Yes.
But if you go back to like I Wish My Brother George Was Here, you get fun, funky songs like Mr. Dabalina, Mr. Bob Dabalina.
But I would say like the songs on this album are fun and funky.
No, they absolutely are, right? But I think like the lyrics you'll find in the rest of his music are a lot more grounded.
Okay, gotcha.
You know what I mean? It's a lot more streets
more,
of Oakland rather than like intergalactic
than,
rap battles. Exactly.
Gotcha. Okay.
So through Deltron 3030, and he also does the lyrics on the Gorillaz smash hit single Clint Eastwood. I think those two are probably like the things that Del is most known for.
Right.
But he's also like a staple in the Bay Area hip hop group Hieroglyphics, which like, I mean, Third Eye Vision and Full Circle, if you guys haven't listened to those yet, pick those up. Del the Funky Homo Sapien, I Wish My Brother George Was Here, and No Need for Alarm. He has releases all the way up until 2020. So even though this is a fantastic record, I think that it's like outshined the rest of like Del's career.
Right.
So like if I could just be a champion waving the flag of Del,
okay,
we could do that. But okay, so now that that is passed, what we have here, Jackie, is just a trip through space.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
what year did this come out?
This came out in 2000.
Okay.
Right. So all of everything that takes place here, this is before 9/11, before
this is the new millennium,
a bank crash, and before everything, right? So you're coming off of like a Y2K, kind of. The world was crazy then, right? Do you remember Y2K?
Vaguely. I was like 6.
We thought the fucking computers were gonna shut down, Jackie. I was like 10, and at the stroke of midnight on New Year's, we like went to like press the button on the computer and went
Yeah.
Obviously nothing happened, but it did like it was a very cool time for, I mean, the changing of the millennium. A lot of cool art came out, but no album I think was like as ambitious and worked as well as this. I mean, there's a lot of especially like in the like the realm of hip hop. I'm a big MF Doom fan, so like Doom would kind of like take you to like this conceptual area, right? Like that's gonna happen. Maybe even like Bizarre Ride to the Far Side. Maybe not so much. Maybe not so much the concept album, but still. What
like
you have
taking
here,
you to a different world type thing.
Exactly.
Yep.
And keeping you there, and really having that be like a backdrop for actually talking about real social issues and and relationships and everything like that that's kind of happening in the real world, right? So I think that takes like a incredibly skilled group of fellows and Del, in my opinion, most of all, just to be able to like vocalize that thing. So Jackie, I'm done waxing poetic here. What did you think about the record?
Well, I really liked it. Like I said, I think it's really like obviously like you said, it's very conceptual and there's a lot going on here, but it's also like if you just want to like listen to the like have it on the background, you can do that. Like it's really like fun, like you can like groove to it and stuff. And like like we were just talking about, it's interesting because like with sci-fi in like movies and TV, it's like that everything is sort of like an allegory to talk about like real issues, which is sort of like, but you don't really see that in music that much, especially in hip hop.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting. It's really like unlike anything I'd ever listened to, though. Like some, like it was sort of familiar in some ways, but
in a sense, it's beats and rhymes and cuts and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I really liked it. It was very, very enjoyable time getting into this one.
When I'm thinking about like this record in particular, there's like if you go on like a psychedelic experience, I think like there's times and places to put this album on, and if you can have something that will take you on a journey.
Totally.
Literally, like if you're kind of experimenting with some hallucinogens or something like that, if you can have that album that can do that for you, and one that you can also just kind of have in the background, you know what I mean? It can rock a party, it can do it's still like pretty incredible.
Totally, yeah. It's got it all.
It definitely does. They got together about 10 years later, make an event too. Ooh. It's very hard, I think, to follow up something like this, and maybe not for the group, but for like the consumer.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Because this record is so like monumental that it's
never going to be what.
No, of course not, right? So I mean, it overshines that, but you're going to get another glimpse into Del's mind, and he does the same thing, right? I think I'm a little bit more grounded, maybe, but he was also going through a shitload of stuff. I believe his he was in a relationship where a woman tried to like frame him and sue him and stuff like that. He was getting shot at, and there was a lot of gnarly stuff happening in Del's life. You know what I mean? Regardless of the fact that he's been, one of the most like unique and iconic artists in hip hop for the past like 20 years, and has done all that. He's no, stranger to turmoil in his life, and that's another reason to listen to Del's regular shit, because you will get a much more grounded version of real life. Yeah, in a much more funky way.
He is.
Yes. But so many unbelievably like quotable moments on this. I think that where it kind of grounds for me is it was so larger than life. You know what I mean? But as you kind of like pick away at it, there's some like really cool moments in this thing. And if you're gonna go from like Mastermind to Madness, those two are like very popular songs on this thing. I mean, I think Mastermind is probably like one of the singles or whatever that's like one of the more well-known songs.
Yeah.
But within this journey through time and space, Del just takes the time to tell you like how dope his producer is on Mastermind, which is like the coolest thing. And it goes back to Eric B. and Rakim. You know what I mean, right? Like it's still like the fundamentals of hip hop apply.
Totally,
like I'm the dopest MC, and my producer, my DJ, he can't speak for you, so I'm going to speak for him.
Right.
And then you have like, who fuses the music with no illusions, producing the blueprints, clueless, like the fucking coolest voice, automator, defy the laws of nature. You can have so much fucking fun listening to this.
Yeah. It's a real good time.
Yeah, right. And not even really get to the fact like what he's doing or whatever, right? So you can sit there and
well, you
and
could
go,
listen to it like you could listen to it like dozens of times and not even like scratch the surface on what's going on there.
For sure.
Yeah.
Right. And then and then after Mastermind, you do get like Madness, like Caught in the Grip of the City, Madness. Like that's probably like the most like grounded track, other than the final one I think on this is it just manages to take you on this journey. Totally. Right. And I think it's important that we're talking about it now, because in the sense of intergalactic rap battles and traveling through space and doing all this, the United States government on 60 Minutes has come out and said that there's aliens everywhere. Yeah. I believe that guy said, oh fuck, we see them all the time.
Yeah, UFOs.
Yeah. Unidentified flying objects. Thank you, Jackie.
Or UAPs.
Yes, or USOs, because some of them go from flying to submerged and dipping into the ocean, which is infinitely fantastic.
Crazy shit. That opens up a whole world of questions for me.
It does, to the point. It was kind of it runs parallel in my Bigfoot theory, in that like we're the virus of the planet here. Like we're like the least interesting thing that's here, right? So like if they're just like dipping past our little radar, like
and just the idea that like aliens could have a whole like base set up so deep into the ocean that we couldn't possibly have found them or detected them, and we
wouldn't have the ability to look
exactly,
right, which is
because everyone who still doesn't believe in aliens,
get off your high horse.
You are the idiots here. Like everyone, it's acknowledged now. But like the whole thing is like, well, we would have seen them by now, or like you think there wouldn't have been like anything by now? It's like, well, yeah. First of all, there's been like as we said, tons of sightings of UFOs. Oh my God! But also these beings are so much more intelligent than us and have so much more advanced technology than us, so they could be like so far deep into the sea that there's no way we could ever know what they're doing.
Yeah, it's like the ant theory too. They're like, whoa, bro, like we're doing some other shit over here.
Yeah,
you know what I mean,
yeah,
right? Like, we're not
yeah.
necessarily very interested in us. Like, I mean, it sucks to say because like I'm a selfish person, right? I want everybody to notice me and to notice you, right? To hey, take a look at us, aliens, right? But if I mean, the fact of the matter might be that we're generally not that interesting.
I mean, maybe not to aliens.
Maybe Dell might be the only person.
Yeah.
Right, that the aliens maybe will want to come down in contact other than Joan Rivers, and she's gone.
That's true.
Right,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
like I mean, it's clear, right? Those are your only two choices if you're intergalactic federation. Actually, okay. So what do you think about with technology advancing and the ability to do holograms on a big scale? Do you think that this might be a there's a theory that this is a government ploy?
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? To either to band us together or to unite the human race because we're fighting each other. So now we need to band together against, you know what I mean, an outside threat. And that's going to make it easier for the governments of the world to unite into like a one world government, new world order, that kind of conspiracy kind of stuff. Do you think there's any credibility to that?
I don't know. I haven't heard this before. I don't know if like holograms would really play a big part into this. Like, I feel like it doesn't make sense to me that they would keep this secret for so long and then they try to like introduce holograms to like bring us all together when they could just be like, there is, because
seeing is believing, right? Like if we're sitting here and just the general public, right, and we're looking out my window right now and we see a ship that is the size of a fucking hockey rink.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean, right? Like there's going to be mass panic and a lot of shit will change overnight.
But they already have had all of this information for so many years, for decades now. So, and because humans are so like tribalistic, if they just like release this info but did it in like a fear-mongering way when they're like, there's this outside enemy, we need to come together, I feel like that would sort of people would naturally sort of form this like an insular sort of bond to you know, us against them type thing. I don't know if they need to bring holograms into
Well, I just think that it would be the easiest way to do it because they might not have a direct line, you know what I mean, to alien civilization, right? They might not have they might know of their existence, but maybe being able to contact them as easy it would be to order like a Domino's pizza, might be a little bit difficult, right? So in like a government sense, if you want to like if you're trying to plan your world takeover, it would be much easier for you to have the autonomy to like to press the button and like, oh look, there they are. You know what I mean, right? In that sense, I do think seeing is believing, and I don't subscribe to that. Like that's not necessarily my theory, but I do think it's interesting.
And where does Tupac's hologram come into this?
Well,
will he be
Tupac's hologram, like I think that like what everybody is discrediting in the world is that Tupac is behind all of this.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
Pac and Bigfoot are wearing Hawaiian shirts.
Yes. Sipping
Mai Tais on a beach laughing about how stupid the general public is right now, right? And they're laughing, but they're also crying inside.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean, right? Because in my heart of hearts, I know that Tupac and Bigfoot only have like humans' best interests at heart, but they know that they're going to need to do something like this to band everybody together.
Their salad days are coming to an end. They know that the time is nigh.
Absolutely.
People are finding out about these extraterrestrial sightings.
Yep. And with camera phones, Tupac is just a hard guy to he's a hard guy to hide.
Yeah.
Right? He's always wearing that bandana.
Yeah,
you know what I mean,
true.
right? Like
he's very recognizable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He doesn't get into a car without spitting on a camera person yelling "Thug Life."
Yeah,
right?
So that's
so I mean, he could do a couple things to definitely stay a little bit more low key. But he's Tupac and he's not going to do that. And we respect him for that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You know, West Side till I die, motherfucker. But at the end of the day, well, actually, what extraterrestrial hypothesis do you subscribe to? Are you familiar with the four main?
No.
Kind of I don't know. The theories, hypotheses surrounding.
No, give me a brief overview.
A brief overview would be that, like, one theory would be that these are extraterrestrial beings from within or outside of our solar system that have come here on the same time length that we're living on now, and just so happened to pass by Earth while we're sitting here, and they've made it. It's probably the easiest one to wrap your head around, but it's also difficult, and it's the easiest one to disprove because do you know the Fermi paradox?
No.
The Fermi paradox is a theory where if you look at like the time span of the universe, let's say it's the length of my finger, right from the Big Bang to now, where our human lifespan, even the time on Earth itself, would be like a grain of sand.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? On that whole thing. So the Fermi paradox is not that aliens don't exist, but the likelihood of them being here at the time that we're alive is such a vast drop in the bucket. Right? It would have to be incredibly well-timed or like the wildest accident. Right. You know what I mean? To ever happen, right? If these beings are traveling at multitudes, much faster than light speed. You know what I mean? To recognize our planet, they might have been here 500,000 years ago or 500,000 years in the future, right? The fact that they would be here right now that we're here would be like kind of that incredible time, right? Right. So that's an interesting one. The next one that I might subscribe to a little bit because this is where like my Bigfoot theory falls in line is the interdimensional hypothesis that this is basically like where parallel dimensions, could exist, right? A multiverse, kind of something like that, right? So there could be you and me doing this podcast right now, right? And then there could be like a butthead version. Do you remember like the In Living Color sketch where Jim Carrey has a dick for a nose and the girl has like a butt forehead? No. We could have that. That's a fantastic sketch. Anybody go back and watch In Living Color. You could have that, or like we could be like a fish in a sofa. You know what I mean? Like infinite parallel. That's some Rick and Morty shit, right? Yeah, and Community. Oh. They have a multiverse episode on Community. Interesting. Yeah. I'd like to check that out. It's great. That, and I think time travel would also fall into that similar line, right? Because it's confusing and nobody can really understand time travel. Yeah, right? It is quite confusing. What rules are we dealing with here? Exactly. Right? But I like, unless it's like a Bill and Ted is like obviously the only like logical time travel thing, right? If you don't have a phone booth, then you're probably not going to be able to travel time. Obviously. And if you can't fix your antenna with tuna cans, it's just not going to happen either. Yeah. It's an excellent adventure. Check them out. The third one that we actually have here, which I kind of think is interesting, is the extra dimensional hypothesis. Okay. So now this is like AI, the simulation theory, all that kind of stuff. That that one's kind of scary to me in the sense that like we don't actually exist here. Yeah, the simulation theory. I don't like it because it makes me uncomfortable to think about. Yeah, me too. Me too. I get really scared off the fact. Like I mean, free will is free will, right? Like I mean, it's my addictions that drive me anyway, right? I don't have any free will. Yeah. But other than that, like the idea that we're just like non-player characters in the background of like some kid's fucking Grand Theft Auto game. Yeah, exactly. That is terrifying. Like that. I don't like that at all. The third one I think is kind of interesting is like ultra-terrestrial theory. Ooh. Where that is like a human civilization broke off to avoid cataclysm or whatever and might come back in the future, right? So we might see these little green men get off the ship and they're not little green men at all. Right. Right. And they're black. And then how's the white man going to deal with that? Right. Well, figure it out. I think we know. Not well. Not well. So that'd be that'd be funny if the ultra terrestrials are just like a group of Africans are like, no, this is just crazy. Like we just fucked off. We had to get the fuck out of here. Yeah. We broke off. Yeah. We left 500 years ago, came back. Honestly, not that good still. Yeah. So we're going to go. That would be crazy. Do any of those kind of which of those kind of pique your interest the most? I think the interdimensional multiverse. That I think that's the good balance of not being like too, like the last two are a bit like too wild for me to really get on board with. Sure. But the first one is like a bit too simplistic. Right? Yeah. Yeah. But so then the second one is if we're talking about multiple dimensions. Multiple universe like that to me is it gives me the warm fuzzies to kind of think about, but it's also the most frightening because like I can't explain it as well as I could the others. Do you know what I mean, right? Like that.
Yeah, no, it is kind of weird to think about that there's just like
another dimension.
Yeah.
Right next to us.
Multiple of them.
Infinite amount.
Yeah, but
right?
it
Where
is
you're a
kind of
shoelace
believable.
and I'm a stapler.
Yeah.
And we're having the same conversation.
It is believable though, because we have no idea, like the universe, like it has no edge. We have no idea. Like it's just infinite. So why the fuck? If that
Say that.
is,
Speak for yourself. I'm a flat universer, and I have been for a long time.
Universe.
There's a wall out there. It's fucking clear. It's so obvious.
But like, if that is our best explanation for the universe, because we're just like, it's infinite. That's the best I got for you. Then of course there could be other universi.
That's nice. I like a good plural. I like a good plural. What could you do to see like that? Now the problem just becomes like the futility of the human mind is that if we can't comprehend that shit or understand it, should I just go eat stuffed crust pizzas from Pizza Hut and like bury my face into drugs and pornography and not think about like the the possibilities of the universe if it's untangible and you can't put your fingers on it?
So I like to like think about this stuff, but then ultimately revert back to my creature comforts just to like get through each day. Like I can think about all this stuff and be aware that there's so much more going on than we even know. The possibility of multiple universes, the fact that we're being visited every day by alien life forms, all this shit. That's wild, and it's so interesting to think about. But at the same time, then I can, smoke a bowl and watch some Jersey Shore, drink a bottle of wine, and call it a day.
Yeah, and get back to the thing. You upgrade your gray matter.
Yeah.
Because one day it may matter. Jackie.
Yeah.
Upgrade your gray matter. Because one day it may matter. I'm also a creature comfort kind of cat. I wouldn't say that like I'm a higher thinker. I would say that like I'm a higher believer.
Yeah. But I think like if you invest like the people that invest too much, like I think that you need a balance.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna be like an interesting person, evolved, and of course you're gonna think about this stuff. But if you get too invested into it, that's when you go a little cray cray.
Yeah, you start
that's
making
when the wheels come off. Yeah,
you start making cowboy hats out of tinfoil.
And then people don't want to talk to you at all.
They don't.
Yeah, so you gotta be aware and think about this stuff, but also come back to the fact that you're a human. And you have your friends and family, you have this like short life, you have these things in your life, and you can, indulge, and you can still live a normal life while also being aware of the wider picture.
Okay. So where does obsession lie in that? Right? Because when the human curiosity is piqued, right? Like then it kills cats, I believe is the saying.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, human curiosity has killed several cats or something like that, right?
Kitty killers.
Right? That's how every, serial killer and or Peter Grant starts from the beginning. You know what I mean?
He was just telling us.
Oh my God, horrific tales, right?
You don't even want to know how many ways you can skin a cat.
No, or fillet a feline these days. That's the thing. Yeah.
He never stops talking about it. Honestly, it's like a little bit much.
It's to the point where we're considering a new friend, but we just don't like other people either. So like right now, a cat killer is like basically all we have.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Which is cool. It speaks a lot to to the world that we live in. And are we living in dystopia now?
I mean, like, I guess it depends how you define dystopia.
Well, like I would imagine like 200 years ago, a massive amount of humans on Earth were like living in very dire straits, right? Compared to now, right? Like a quality of life has increased, right? But there's is like the quality of the mind. You know what I mean, right? Are we just are we closing ourselves off? And that's another reason for this record. I think that is very important is that it's not narrow-minded at all, right? And I think him as an artist, right? Dan the Automator is a producer. Kid Koala might as well too. Actually, we got to spend a second to talk about Kid Koala. He's a Canadian DJ.
Okay.
That
nice.
I mean, he doesn't get the shout-outs on this record like Dan the Automator does, right? Like especially like off the top of the record, it's Deltron Zero and Automator, and then you hear like in the back just like all these cuts, and you're like, well, that's Kid Koala.
Right.
But shout out to the Canadian kid, absolutely, yeah. On Event 2 is fucking dope too. But if you're a fan of the scratches, go and check out those dudes. But oh shit, what were we talking about?
A dystopia.
Yes. Okay. So I think like the more comfortable that the human race gets, the more narrow-minded our vision becomes. All I need to do is work the 40 hours, pay the bills, so that I can retain this amount of comfort, rather than you know what I mean. Take the time to wonder and create art and explore or something like that.
I don't know if I agree.
I don't know if that would be if that would define dystopia. But
sure, it could, but I don't know if I agree that people are getting more narrow-minded. I think more than ever, people are sort of breaking free of that.
Interesting.
Of that lifestyle. You see people, out doing their thing,
like us?
Just like us.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Trying to find a way out of it,
Yeah.
I think we see that a lot more, especially because the internet opens up so many possibilities. And because now people, within the last decade or so, people have become so much more open with talking about mental health and stuff, and being like, you know what, this isn't for me. Like this working, 9 to 5, coming,
totally. You can put your fingers in your butt and people will pay you rent for that on the internet right now. Exactly. Like that's the thing. You can sell your socks.
Yeah, a guy just offered me $1,000 a week to listen to him talk about his divorce.
And as a business partner, Jackie, I'm gonna go on record saying that you really fucked us there. For the listener, if somebody contacted you saying that
a stranger, an old
Jackie, please.
Okay. You go, then I'll go.
If a stranger offers you $1,000 a month,
a week.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ! Oh, ladies and gentlemen, this is a Show Me Yours exclusive. If a stranger offered to pay you $1,000 a week, not to show your butthole, not to show titty, right? Yeah. Not even to put your fingers into your throat and throw up on camera or do something weird like that, because that's $1,000 a week level shit.
Yeah.
Let's get serious here.
He clarified he's not a pervert.
Yeah, well, I mean,
which is debatable.
Jackie, that's what we all say at the beginning. That's what we all say. But I think that it's just a bummer for me because I'm in the market. I would listen to your problems for $1,000 a week.
Yeah.
Do you know what I do for $1,000 a week? It sucks. It takes 40 hours. It's a pain in the ass, right? My knee is sore today just because that's what I have to do. You know what I mean?
I get it.
So if I was on the money end of that, I would talk to him on the phone. Like I talked to my mom when she's had a bottle of wine.
Yeah.
And that I say yes.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I put the phone down and I walk away from it for 3 minutes. Mm-hmm. And I pick the phone back up and I go, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I didn't miss a beat. Right? Yeah. I love you, Mom. I'm sorry. That's not what I do every time. But a lot of times.
Sure.
You know what I mean? That's $4,000 a month, Jackie.
Yeah, but okay. My thing is that, first of all, this was a random old guy who found me on Instagram, and it was the day that I had posted one of our promo shots of me naked.
He's a pioneer, Jackie. I share his spirit.
So first of all, that gives me creepy vibes. Second of all, there is no fucking way that any man on this earth, let alone an old man who seeks out a much younger girl
naked on Instagram
would pay $1,000 a week and not for me to listen to him talk about his divorce and not have ulterior motives in mind.
What if the check clears and then, so obviously he's going to slow play this, right?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking 1-2 phone calls, right? After 3 weeks, he's thinking okay, maybe I'll offer $1,500 and just get no bra in the
Right.
video, right? Maybe that would be, that's a place to start.
But just the idea.
Super
of,
weird.
Like,
it's super weird. But
yeah.
I'm saying before it gets to like a traumatizing phase for you.
Just like a weird thing that I did.
Yeah, like, I'm just saying, like, think about the business, Jack.
Yeah. I blocked him. It made me uncomfortable.
Well, we could use a little capital, so if there's any weird guys out there looking for somebody to talk to for $1,000 a week, I guess holler at me.
If you can prove that you're gonna pay me $1,000, and if you're not like 3 times my age,
Jack, you can't put an age limit on or curiosity. I don't know. You can't put an age limit on the rent.
I can put an age limit on who I'm gonna talk to on the phone for an hour every day about their love life.
It just sounds ageist to me, right? It sounds like you're it sounds like you're trying to like oppress maybe what might be the songbird of our generation. This guy might be like a beautiful mind, right? Like maybe he's just misunderstood.
Does he have no friends or family to talk to? And
clearly not.
And what makes him think? What drew him to me other than just the photos he's seeing that would make him think, oh, this girl's a good listener? That's not what he's after.
I don't know. I don't know. Like, maybe he's into ears and he's like, that bitch got some lobes on her. Like, and like, I don't know, right? Like maybe there's something about your tits that says good listener. I don't know how this guy thinks.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to clean him out, before his inevitable suicide. That just seems to be like the logical thing, because like, why should his family spend that money on a funeral? Right? We should obviously spend that money on our future.
You can't take it with you.
No, you cannot.
We can take it from you.
Oh, nice. Oh, yeah. Manhattan, keep on making it. And Brooklyn, keep on taking it. Yeah, fuck yeah. You see, I don't know. Crisis precipitates change, Jackie. Mm-hmm. And I think that if we could maybe appear like we need the help more than we do, like maybe we could do like the YouTube equivalent of like street busking and like asking for, you know what I mean? Because that's basically what we're trying to do, right?
Should
we're trying to pay the rent.
Downgrade the studio here?
I don't know if we can downgrade the studio any more than we can. We've stapled the sheet to the wall, Jackie. For any young broadcasters out there that think this is very hard to do, like, just gotta lighten a couple pieces of gear, and you too can have a ridiculous show.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, obviously you draw the line. Is there somewhere that, like, Japanese businessmen are buying panties out of vending machines?
Right. I told you, feet pics. I will send you photos of my feet if you pay me.
Oh,
100%.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. We're just trying to offer. Yeah. I will do so much more than that. Really, money talks. Whatever you want to see. I mean, shit, I was doing more than that last week for free. So if we can maybe bring a revenue stream into this, and then that would be one thing. But you know what? We're in it for the love, Jax. Mm-hmm. I think that's important, right? It's the art is there.
We don't want to defile.
No. And I don't want the picture of my butthole on the internet to define me as an artist.
No.
Yeah. I definitely want it to define me as like patient zero.
Yeah.
Or somebody in serious need of help.
Yeah.
But that should be it.
Yeah. If there were pictures of my tits on the internet, I'm okay with that defining me as an artist.
That's pretty cool. It's good tits. It's not my butthole I'm ashamed of. It's just what I've done to it.
Just what it's been through.
Yeah. My butthole looks like Rambo at the end of a fucking flick. Like it's just gone through like so much. They drew first blood.
Yeah. Just the trauma.
Yeah. Jonny Trauma. They call me that.
Yeah.
There's 14 or 15 people that call me that. So in the sense of like my butthole outshining the accomplishments of me as a man, do you think that and in Dell's situation too, unfortunately, I apologize if any of this ever gets back to Dell and we just transition from my butthole to Dell's music. But this record specifically, and obviously a couple verses on a Gorillaz song,
right, has
significantly outshined the rest of his career.
Right.
Can you think of any other like instances in that's kind of happened where somebody is known I would say like Jim Carrey, more known for his acting as far as his stand-up, but not so much as one film outshines the rest of his career. Right? CeeLo Green. I think CeeLo Green is like a popular artist. I don't know if he is as popular now, but CeeLo Green used to be in Goody Mob. So if you're an Outkast fan, and like Goody Mob came up, and they were like the bad boys from Atlanta. So when CeeLo came out, does that make you crazy? Like, what the fuck? Because it should be like, what you know about the dirty South? Like that shit was hard. But so whether it's like negative or positive, I don't know. Like I think this specific example is almost like it's heartbreaking in the sense that anytime Della's name comes up, it's either me, Clint Eastwood, or 30-30.
Yeah. Well, I hate to always bring it back to the Sandman, but
we're both fans of the Sandman.
But I do think that's a good example. It's especially nowadays when maybe not so. Maybe that's changing in the last few years because he's been coming out. What was that fucking movie called? The drama he was in.
Oh, Uncut Gems.
Uncut
great.
Gems.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Because now he's Uncut Gems. I just watched
Punch
another
Drunk Love
one.
was great too. Great.
Yeah, Punch.
Dramatic,
I just watched another recent one on Netflix. It's like him and Dustin Hoffman and Ben Stiller.
Recent?
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
Cool.
Great. Anyways, but I think in the last decade or so, whenever someone brings up Adam Sandler, it's usually like as a joke, like sort of like making fun of him, like, oh, Adam Sandler fucking sucks, he makes shitty movies type thing.
Yeah.
And
disregarding an entire body of work.
Exactly. Obviously the movies that he was making were making him tons of money, but that does not represent his comedic talent.
He made $100 million and then decided to make movies for his kids. Like, I'm not getting mad at him.
Like, why the fuck? Yeah. I would do it. Like, if you're like, okay, this dumb
I'm trying
shit
to sell
I'm
pictures
doing,
of my butthole on the fucking YouTube right now. I would do it. Far more shit than
this
that.
fucking dumb shit is making me millions. I'm gonna keep churning these out for a bit.
Absolutely.
But he is fucking so much more than that. He's a brilliant comedic talent. So yeah,
totally.
Yeah, I think Jim Carrey is a good example too. Lots of people hate on Jim Carrey.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's weird how you can grow up being a fan of somebody. I mean, especially with like Jim Carrey and Adam Sandler, right? So if you're gonna look at, I mean, like from Ace Ventura all the way up to like whenever you want to draw the line for Jim, but like if you're gonna tell me that Me, Myself, and Irene isn't one of the funniest fucking movies of all time, like all that stuff is ridiculous.
Man on the Moon, brilliant,
right?
So good.
Yeah, and then like just if you don't like the number 23 or like was it like Beautiful Mind or whatever was it? I Love You,
Eternal
what's
Sunshine.
What's the one where he's fucking the guy? That's a graphic scene of Jim Carrey just fucking some dude in the ass. Awesome.
Oh yeah. Fuck. What was that?
I think it's like I Love You or fella. I'm not sure. I have the actual name, but yeah, if you want to see Jim Carrey covered in sweat, just giving it to a fella, find it. It's a movie. Google it. But it's weird for a fan to not enjoy one piece of art that kind of comes out and then go ahead to shit on that person as if they're not talented anymore, no good anymore or whatever, right? Like I think like not everybody's Nicolas Cage just doing it for a couple extra bucks, right? I think he was in some serious I heard some story that Nicolas Cage is in so much fucking debt that he just has to keep taking shitty roles in movies or whatever. But he makes National fucking Treasure. Like how much debt is this guy in that one National Treasure movie can't fucking square you off, right?
Have you heard so Seth Rogen has been doing the rounds on podcasts because of his book he just released.
Okay, yeah.
And he was on, I think it was Conan's podcast, and he told this like Nicolas Cage story that's like in the book. And he's like, yeah, like I'm sure next time I see Nicolas Cage it's going to be super awkward, but honestly I've already had a couple awkward interactions with Nicolas Cage. So basically, long story short, they were doing a movie and Nicolas Cage was auditioning and he just did like the weirdest take on this character, like really went for it, and it was just like bizarre.
Awesome.
And afterwards Seth was like he didn't know what to say. He's like, I didn't like it. Like we're not going this way. And so Nick Cage like didn't get the part. And then like years later, they met with him for another movie, and Nick Cage was just like, was like James Franco character in Spring Breakers sort of like a ripoff of that audition I did for you? And Seth was like, no. Like, I had nothing to do with that movie.
Are you
like,
fucking
what?
kidding me?
Yeah. So apparently,
you would think that Nicolas Cage would know the difference between a Seth Rogen and a Harmony Korine fucking movie. Like, Superbad isn't kids, you dumb motherfucker.
Yeah.
That's wild. Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I would love to have had a weird interaction with Nicolas Cage. So, like, that would be worth it. I would I would cast a million fucking movies with Nicolas Cage just auditioning for every single one. Just because you get a Nicolas Cage authentic audition. He's just gonna fucking like rip lines and come in with his hair all fucked up.
Yeah, and the way Seth explained it too, he's like, it was so awkward. Like, it sounds really awesome, but like sitting in the room in that moment, it was unbearable.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage is another one, like Wild at Heart. That performance is gonna like so fuck good. Off. You know what I mean, right? Like you could say whatever you will.
And
I think
like
I'm
Laura
more.
Dern, she kills everything.
She's fucking fantastic.
She's so good.
She brings him a snakeskin jacket, right? Did you know that it's his? Oh my god, I can't remember the goddamn quote now. But yeah, it's a. Never mind. Sense of individuality and belief in personal freedom.
Individuality, yeah.
But, I don't know. Yeah. Do you have any other final thoughts here? Like, I don't know. I think I just like I shot my load on on Deltron here. Like, I don't know. I don't know where to go from this. If you have anywhere that you want to take this, and then we can go because I'm going off the book now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what do you do to upgrade your gray matter?
Well, Jackie, I just try to take a couple days off a week, you know, not of work, of just a couple days away from me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, right?
Like, if like let it breathe.
Yeah, the best thing that I can do as a person is ignore myself for at least 2 of those days and just try to get a little bit of work done. I like to read.
Yeah.
I like to try, but I'm trying to find time for all of that shit, right? I like to do whatever I can to relax.
Yeah.
But I have a curious mind and I can never turn it off.
Well, I think that is like, you know, expanding your mind.
Yeah. So I think anything that I can do to learn something new. What the problem that I'm having is that I'm so distrusting of everything that I read, like especially like on my phone or on the internet or whatever, because like journalism doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
And anytime that I find something, even it doesn't have to be like political. Like skateboard journalism is the only thing that you can count on because like we went to Barcelona,
right?
And dude did the trick. It was sick. Like that's the only shit that you can do because now everything else is an opinion piece, right?
Yeah.
So like, I was reading something on all the space debris, right? That's like kind of surrounding the world, and the idea that there's like an entire junkyard in orbit around our planet, so much so that when they are planning launches, they need to coordinate that with not bumping into a chunk of fucking satellite that's been there for 40 years or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Some of these things are like nuts and bolts floating around. Some of them are like the size of cars, right?
Yeah.
That is fascinating to me.
Yeah.
And the entire article that I'm reading is basically Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos' slam article saying like everything that like the ambitions that these people have, regardless of whether it's going to be like if Elon Musk puts like 50 fucking satellites and gives the entire world internet for free, or you know what I mean, right? Like there's a few things like that could definitely improve life for a lot of people like on Earth. The blame isn't on the people going into space now. It's fucking 60 years of government programs and shit that didn't fucking work or whatever that, you know, is the majority of that space junk, right?
Yeah.
So you're reading this thing and all I want to know is about what the fuck is up there.
Right.
Right? Just give me the facts, right? And then I'm reading 5 paragraphs about how shitty fucking 2 billionaires are. And obviously, right? I'm not a fan of, I don't care. You know what I mean, right? But like so every time I try to upgrade my gray matter, you know, it tries to pull me back down to shit that doesn't matter. And that's like something that drives me crazy. So I've been just basically looking at, a lot of UFO and Bigfoot stuff because that makes me happy. And a lot of, historical stuff because that's interesting to me. And like, and you can't go too far back. Yeah. Like I only do like, I looked at the Tulsa massacre, like in the thing there, because it just like the anniversary happened or whatever. So I just like looked into that and like that's the amount of shit or whatever that has been like covered up. That's kind of like the new thing that I'm kind of been looking at for the past 2 weeks. Is just as the ability for governments and media to cover things up and make things appear different over time. For example,
well, I mean, that's so huge right now with all of the remains of the children at various old residential schools around the country.
It's all over the place. And I think if you look at it like oh shit, this is fucking fascinating. Okay, so when you see all those pictures of all those residential schools, right? The last one that closed was in like the 90s or something, right?
Yeah, I think it was like 96.
It's fucked,
something like that.
Right? That's so fucked
even.
up.
It might have been 99. Something like it's late 90s.
Every picture that that the media has shown of every residential school is black and white photography.
Yeah, to make it seem like it was
like it didn't happen, right? Yeah. There's in Philadelphia, I believe in the 80s, the police fucking bombed like an entire city block. Fucking horrendous story. Absolutely fucked up. I think like 235 homes or something like that were destroyed. People in this place, people fucking died. One of the most fucked up, egregious uses of power and the biggest fuck up, you know what I mean, in a city has ever had, you know what I mean, especially for the people that are there to protect that fucking neighborhood, end up like literally blowing it up. Completely fucking horrific. And that happened in the 80s, and every picture that you see is black and white.
Of course, to make it seem more
right,
rude.
which was like that kind of shit blows me away. So I'm just like fascinated in the way that like public opinion can be swayed or kind of it painted in a different light, so that a few years later it won't be a tragedy anymore. It won't like you won't, the kid that's learning about it and the next generation isn't going to know the weight and how devastating all these things were, right? And then like the fucking and Whitey just marches on because fucking asshole, right? And I think that's pretty fucked up.
No, I think going back and learning about history is always a positive thing. I feel like, I do the same thing. You know, I'm also like curious about all sorts of things, and I read a lot. I feel like lately though, like to sort of like my like version of expanding my mind is like sort of going the other way and like going more like inward and spending more time just like being like
that's
just
rad.
like being like, I don't know, like being like within myself and like finding I don't know, like getting to know like myself more and like finding that sort of like tapping into that like internal like wisdom and stuff that we all sort of have, that like intuition, but like getting more, I don't know, because I just feel like that makes me feel more evolved than any amount of like reading articles does, you know. I don't know.
Well, no, I do. Like, it makes a lot of sense. I have like a very short attention span. So anytime that I try to like, to like meditate or be in the present moment, some therapists have told me that would help. You know what with my brain, right? It's very difficult.
It doesn't come naturally. It's definitely a practice, but you know, I think it helps me definitely be more present in the moment. There's so many times where like I'll just like, you know, just tap out because I'm just like thinking about something else, and I think I'm getting better at that, at just like being, and I think that's like what, because like all we, not to get like super hippy dippy with it, but all we have is the present moment. So if you're not like here, then like you're missing it. You're missing out on life.
That's true.
Because the past is the past and the future has yet to come, and you don't know what the future holds. So all you have is like every like passing second, like that is your life. And so if you're, you know, caught up thinking about something that happened yesterday or fucking 10 years ago, or if you're worrying about something that might happen in the future, you're missing your life like right now.
Yeah. Christoph Crane said in one of his songs, just being so concerned with the ending that the moment slips away, you know what I mean? Which is kind of interesting. And you know, like the drive's always shorter on the way home because you're always thinking about, you know, you're always looking at when I get here, then I'll relax or whatever. And it's even the way that the world is set up, right? Like you have to work so hard now or whatever so that you can relax later. It's like, why don't you just kick it right now?
Yeah, and that's like what we're trying to escape. And even like when you look back on like, you know, like trips or like memories, and you look back and you're like, oh, that was such a fun time. why wasn't I enjoying it in the moment? I was just kind of waiting for it to end. Like I was, thinking about
or even if you're having so much fun, you're like, oh, I hope this or whatever, right?
Yeah,
you're always thinking about
exactly.
it. Yeah,
just like being there.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to sort of expand your mind and just like take everything in as it comes. Yeah.
Shit, that was. Normally, I would be the I want to be contrarian here. I want to be the voice of reason to your radical left wing ideologies. But I can get with that. I don't. No, that's not left wing at all. That's very inner wing.
It's very kumbaya.
It's very yeah. And I mean, when I was a young warthog, I had a similar theory, and I just wanted to direct. Actually, no, I'm totally cool with that, and. I will try to live my life in that righteousness, in that path.
Yeah.
All praise Jax. Well, I think we're there. Do you want to land the plane?
Yeah, sure.
All right, Jax, let's get the fuck out of here. Listen to Dell. Not only 3030, every release, everything. And I mean, obviously, Dan the Automator, Kid Koala, if you're a fan of cuts and scratches and cool hip hop. And let's get the fuck out of here.
Okay.
Peace.